Okay, it says we're on. I don't know if I am or not, but it says we are. We'll see. Good morning, everybody. This is Tom from Tom and Ruth Podcast. And let me see if I can get this one going. Today we're going to talk about just general stuff. I haven't done a live stream on forever, and I'm trying to figure out how to do all these things. Let's see. My show. Okay. Excuse me. Hold on a minute. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Start. And done. Okay, I'm live. Good morning. This is Tom from Tom and Ruth Podcast today. It's a cloudy day in the Philippines. It's what they call a gray sky day here. It's raining. I do have the air on, which I don't need on, but I had to put it on because closed room is so noisy out there. Cats and dogs and motorcycles and everything else. And so, hey, or go on my stream and see if it's on. So, on podcast. So today I want to talk about living in cost, housing, buying a house, having a house here in the Philippines, buying land. It seems that since January 1 of this year, it's on. Okay, I see it now. Since January this year, it seems that the land itself has increased considerably. And I mean considerably, meaning it was $20 per square meter. It was $15 per square meter mid last year. Now it's 20. Some cases around me, it is $80 a square meter now. Some places are 100. You can still buy it some places fairly cheap. Depends on where you go. But really overall, pricing of land has gone up considerably. It's gotten up so much that I could not believe it. Of course, here in the Philippines, they don't have what they call where you can check if somebody owns the property before you. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories today. It's really sad stories, but not just foreigners are getting taken advantage of. Many other people are getting taken advantage of also. And the thing about it is, you don't really realize, but it's something that you don't think about. Sorry, I was thinking something else at the same time, and I don't need to do that. I was making sure everything is on. Purchasing land is really, you have to do your due diligence. If it's owned by tribal land or if it's a forestry service or things like that, I'm going to tell you a story. This is from a friend. This happened to her. She was an OFW, owned land here, and the people saw that the land was vacant. So people actually moved in. Not only did they move in, they actually cut her trees down. And another neighbor messaged her, said, "Did you sell your land?" "Nope, I didn't sell it." "Why?" "Well, apparently you must have sold it. They're cutting your trees down, and looks like they're." And she had some big, beautiful trees. 3 large tractor trailer loads of wood came off of that property. Well, she did not know what to do, and she's in OFW across the world. And she's in a bad situation. So what does she do? She calls her kids, and they're really young at the time. I mean, they're young. The husband is sick. He's not well. He can't really do anything. He can't fight the battles there. That's all they could do to keep up and make sure the children are okay. So what he did was they decided, okay, what is the best thing for me to do? Well, she couldn't do anything, so she talked to the barangay captain somehow, and said, "Okay, we need to bring a case against the people doing that." Well, eventually, what they did, they ended up selling and leasing the property to someone else, and when they leased it to someone else, they actually put Sugar King on the property, and by putting other things on the property, and making money off of her property. She's not there on her own property to solve any problems or issues. So she found herself in territory that was just really unfamiliar to her. And um, she's still fighting the case. Uh, not only did they take her property, the people who have been in the last 4 or 5 years has been making an income off her property. You have to really be careful on anything that happens. And the reason I'm saying this is, here's an example. The company, we have a lot here next to us. We do not own those lots. The people that own those lots are in another place. The neighbor decided that he's going to put roosters on it. So he put roosters on it. Well, the other neighbor decided, well, I saw he does it, so I'm going to do it. Well, next thing you know, they're building some type of, or trying, we're going to, till I stopped them, build some type of nipa hut or chicken coop or some kind of something. I have no idea what they're building on the property. They don't own that property. They're not even supposed to take a coconut off a tree off that property. They don't own anything on that property. Well, apparently the guy, when I went out there and confronted him about it, he said, you're owner. I said, no, I'm not owner, and you cannot put roosters on a property you don't own. Well, yeah, it's okay. He did anyway. So what am I going to do? I'm not going to fight that battle because I'm in a foreign land. If I was in the States and I knew the property and the property owner, well, I'd fight for him and help him through that situation. But here in the Philippines, if someone squats on that land, and what I mean by that, if they squat on that land is gone. And you have to fight them off. You know, you have to get the barangay captain. You have to get a lot of things involved in it, and you just can't kick them off. And if it's a tribal or somebody in the tribe, you really got problems. You really have problems. So if you buy a piece of property, not only do you have to put a house on it, live on it, you need to be there present. A lot of things that happen and changing through the years, but this has been going on hundreds and hundreds of years. People getting on people's property and staying on that property and surviving on that property. The thing that I would say, if any foreigner or somebody's looking to buy a property, maybe include myself, I will not buy any more property here. I would lease it or rent a condo. But condos, I got to tell you a story about a condo. Condo owner, new owner. I'll get into that in a minute. That is a story in itself. You buy a condo, buyer beware. So what they did was, she's the lady's got to go to court. She's going to fight that particular battle soon, and hopefully prayers are with her that she can fight that battle and get those people off her piece of property that she owns, and then she can get her property back. And not only that, they need to pay her for the money of the wood that she got off the property, off their property, and not only the wood, the money that has been due. Now, how are you going to get that money out of anybody? You can't. It's just lost. And no matter what you do, it's just lost. Everything's lost all the way around. So who wins? The guy who stole the property wins at this moment in this day. So you never know what happens. You never know the reasons why things happen a certain way, but they do. And I feel sad for that person. And this is not the only one that this has happened to. This has happened before to someone else. And I know that it's something that is hard to deal with when someone steals something that's yours. I do want to say that that we all don't really know about things when you're in another country. You need to do your due diligence. Another story I'm going to talk about today briefly is a guy that bought a condo. He went to the condo place and said, oh, I love this condo. It's on the 10th floor. No worries. Elevator goes out. No worries. I'll climb the stairs. I need exercise anyway. Okay? He buys it, pays the money for the property. It's one of the major brand condo places here. He buys it. He goes back to the States. He has his fiance, his future wife, move in there, and all is fine. He comes back, and the wife says, we got some problems. He comes back like 6 months later. Well, what's the problems? Why didn't you tell me these problems? Why didn't you want to burden you? Well, what are the problems? Well, since we paid cash for it, they went up on the fees. We got to pay fees monthly, and they went up on the fees, and they're actually going to go up on other things. What do you mean other things? What's other things? So he got a piece of paper and grabbed it, and they want him to pay 10,000 peso a month on this particular condo. And apparently there is a clause in the writing that if you buy a condo that you can that they can actually charge you, because here's what happened. That land that they have those condos on are leased. That's leased land. So they lease it for 10 years or 20 years or 25 years. And if the lease is up on that, and more likely it was up, because as you knew, they do phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 5, however many condos in that deal. They just lease all the land at the same time. And it takes 2, 3 years to build this, or 4 years to build this, and 2, 3, 4 years to build this, and 2, 3, 4 years to build this, or 5 years. And then you can see the scenario, right? Apparently, he's at the last end of the crop, and all of the land is owned by this particular company or companies. They went up on the lease of the land considerably. So the condo owner saying, I'm one oasis. I'm saying, oh, I bought these. Everything is fine. I don't have to worry about this. Well, actually, you do have to worry about it, because they decided that to recoup their money, they're going to have to go up 10,000 peso a month, which is 200, compared to what he was paying was $10 or $20 a month. So in order for him live in that condo from here on out until he has to pay $200 a month. Now remember, the condo's paid for. And all of a sudden, the pros and cons of being on the 10th floor is not as good. All of a sudden, those stairs are hard to climb now. All of a sudden, a year or 2 years down the road, he's finding himself, I can't climb the stairs as I once could. And not only that, my wife can't either. Bad knees, this, that, and other. You're getting up in the 60s, and so that's just the way it is. So now he has an apartment on the 10th floor. What's he going to do? Got to sell it. So he's trying to sell his apartment. Well, nobody wants it. It's on the 10th floor. Nobody wants those apartments on the 10th floor. They want apartments on the 1st or the 5th floor. They can climb 3 or 4 or 5 flights of stairs to get. The reason I'm saying that, elevators are always down in these condos. And I can vouch for that myself. I said to myself one day, I will do it because we rented a condo. We rented multiple condos many times. Davao, CDO. Davao, we rented a condo 2, 3 times, 4 times. Same thing in CDO, 2, 3, 4 times. And they were just building that condo there in CDO, one oasis. And we found ourselves in a situation where not only we're renting it, and we're finding that we paid, I forget what it was, we paid like $200 for 10 days or something like that, and which was fine. And I was on the 2nd floor, and I rented one time too. It was on the 5th or 6th floor, but you're not allowed to get wet in there because you get electrocuted, as they say. You're not allowed to go in the elevator when it's wet because you understand why. So you got to climb the stairs, so a swimming pool and things like that. You guys kind of know the scenario. So rules are changing consistently. It's not like renting one in somewhere else in Thailand or Vietnam or even the United States. You can go in the elevator wet all you want. You'll be dripping wet. It doesn't matter. They just clean them out accordingly. Wet does not make sure you get electrocuted. But that's their thing here. That's what they say. You get electrocuted. But we know that that's all the thing that they do here. But I do want to say this. I think that people need to rethink about buying condos sometimes. Figure out, is the rent going to go, is there a clause in there? Make sure that you do buy this and you do have a situation where you can get out of it. Because if you don't really realize, you don't want to be tied up in a condo and they go up on a rent 6 months after you get in there. Or rent, what am I saying? Monthly dues. Now he already bought it, he paid cash for it. So now he's out. So now he's going to have to sell it, and he's probably going to get a third of what he bought it for because they have many empty ones. Now they say they're filling up, but honestly, to be honest with you, I've checked it and myself personally and talked to a real estate agent. They're having a hard time filling these condos up because same story. They have 2 elevators for 15 floors, 20 floors, and uh, you have to stand there sometimes 10, 20 minutes just to get the elevator down to get, and and then going to your room can be quite complicated because it has to stop 2, 3, 4, 5 times. You guys know the scenario. It's not like states where they have 3 on this side and 3 on this side. They only have 1 or 2, and that's it. Usually one's broke, so you have to wait a long time. So if you're going to rent one of these, make sure you get it on the 1st or 2nd floor. You can climb the stairs and get to it. If you can't, it's not worth doing it unless you're a young man, and it's not worth doing it because of, and people are going to get mad at me for saying this, and I'm so sorry. And I don't want everybody to get mad at me this, but if you rent something and you can't climb and get to it, why would you do it? And then if they have an option, which they do, all these have clauses in there that they can go up on any kind of monthly fees. If not, they're going to create one to offset these land guys that own this land, because all 99.999% of all these condos are owned by someone else, and they lease the condos to these companies to build these condos, and the condos themselves are finding themselves in unfamiliar territory because they're going to have to go up on the rent because they say, okay, the new lease is this, and so apparently they went up so much that they had to charge each tenant 10,000 peso a month just to pay the dues that they got to pay back to the owner. So there you go. That's an interesting story. Okay, story number 3. And how long am I in here? It's okay, I got plenty of time. Story number 3 is of a gentleman here, came to the States. His name is Stephen, and his wife is Dominga. So they came here, he came here, they got married here, and he decided, okay, they built a small place. He was not going to burden himself, as he said, and he told me this when I did the burden video. I'm not going to burden myself a lot of things. I'm just going to buy a small, simple place, get it involved in. And the land was owned by the family, and the father sold him the land for 12,000 peso, which was about $240. Gave him a good deal. He bought the land, went up to, built a small little place, and had to go back to States because work, job, life, and eventually bring the lady there, but eventually bought the land for the future. Well, the father, after about a year after him coming back forth, they got married, and the father revealed something to him. We got a thing that we have to go to court for. He said, what for? Well, come to find out, we really don't own the land. I thought we owned the land, but apparently the brother, here we go again, the brother that owned the land didn't actually own the land. He stole it from his other brother, or trying to steal it from his other brother. So he leased it out because his other brother is an OFW seaman. And the seaman came home again. The same thing happened on the other video. Came home and found that the gentleman had, his land was occupied. Well, this is my land, and why are people on my land? Well, I sold it. Well, what do you mean you sold it? You can't sell it. I have the title and the deed. I have the physical title and deed in my possession. And he says, well, I sold it. And apparently he tried to file for title and deed on it. Well, you can't do it. You can't get past that level. So he didn't get very far with it. Well, I woke up one day and he says, okay, I'm tired of this, my brother. I'm just going to go. He went and told the people, you got to get off my property. This is my property, and I'm not planning on selling it. And either you get off the property, I'm going to have you taken off the property. The seaman was really upset about it. So apparently, the wife now, parents, and the American have to leave the property. And the property, what I understand, is like 5 hectares. And they got crops on it. They have corn. They have beans, long beans. They have squash. They have a few coconut trees, durian trees. So apparently the guy, no, I want you off my property. I don't care what it is. So it said, well, it's not our fault. You need to get it from your brother. Well, no, I am going to get it from my brother. So there's a turmoil there. So the guy said, the American says, we got to get off of there. No matter what, it's his property. We got to get off that property. So the American says, okay, I'll figure out do it. So the American says, I was trying on saving money. Said, how much money do we need to buy a piece of property for? So they're searching around for a piece of property, found one for $15,000, which is 750,000 peso. I found one for $15,000. Smaller lot, small situation there, no houses or anything on it. And it's down the road. So they look upon him to do it, right? It's all on the foreigner. Well, if not, the parents are going to be out on the street. They have nowhere to go. So he says, "This is my money. This is my money. This is money I work for. When does somebody take care of me?" That's what his attitude was. When is anybody ever going to take care of me? Why do I always have? And that was his attitude. So he told me, he says, Tom, why can't somebody just take care of me? Why do I always have to pay? I said, I'm so sorry. I understand that. I said, I felt like that a few times in my life too. And I said, so what do you do? He said, well, I can't let them be out on the street, and I can't let my wife be on the street. And my wife is pregnant, by the way. He said, when I was there, back, said she got pregnant, and then the baby's going to be due soon. And I'm planning on trying to be there. And what? I got to give them 15,000. Now I got to go take money on my credit card to be able to fly there because I don't have any money. I'm saving my money for my future. Well, so he said, I tell you what. He told the wife. He said, okay, we'll buy that piece of property. So he sent them $15,000 to buy this piece of property. Now before that, I asked him, you should lease the land. Lease the land for 25 years. Lease it for 30 years. Lease it, lease it, lease it. Well, they couldn't find it. So one thing led to another. He ended up buying it. Now he's going to be in debt again. Now he said, now I'm going to be in debt about another $4 or $5 grand because I got to buy a ticket going there back and forth, and I got to stay there for a little while for my daughter. Then I got to come back to work and start all over again. As you know, their land's empty, so what am I going to do? That's just for the land. So I got to at least try to get a nipa hut built for the family and my wife, something built there. And so I instructed him, I said, listen, you can go buy these ready-made bamboo houses. And he goes, really? So I said, yeah, you can buy a ready-made bamboo house without a CR, but you can add a CR and another bedroom to it really easy. They have 2 bedrooms and a open sink and the whole 9 yards. You just add your water. He goes, well, I need to buy a couple of those. I said, $1,000 each, $1,200 each. I said, you buy a couple of those, one for their family and one for her alone, not for anyone else. And I said, they'll last 20 years or so. You take care of them, they'll last, a lifetime. And he said, okay, so that's really good. So he's buying 2 of those bamboo houses. He's buying 2 bedrooms for each. So $1,200. And it's walk around porch. The bedrooms are like 8 by 8. The one bedroom has bunk beds in it, 8 feet by 8 feet. And the master bedroom's like 10 by 10 or 10 by 12. And it has just open room. So, of course, he said, I'm just going to let them sleep on mats and make sure they got water, make sure they got electric. And, of course, now the new property has no electricity to it. So he said, what am I said, this simple. Just go buy you a couple of panels at Harbor Freight, ship them here, and get her some simple batteries. She can go get lead acid. Take the lead acid, stick them underneath in a box outside or something, and she can have lights at night. That's all the power they need, And he says, yeah, just some lights. He says, because they cook by wood and coconut hulls. So they cook by coconut hulls themselves, dry out the coconut hull, and that's what they cook by. They find wood also, and that's how they do it. So that is the stories for today. I mean, things are, it's really funny how things work like that. And things are in that situation. And I feel so sorry for for them because of that. And we all know how things work out sometimes. So I'm going to do a small video on Tom and Ruth about that and kind of tell about what's going on with that. But I want to thank everybody for always watching our videos, and thank you so much for spending a valuable time on our channel today. And we'll see you guys next time on Tom and Ruth podcast.